Hello, everybody. Good day. And I want to say hello. Hope everybody's doing well. So, we're going to go over some metabolic issues, things that may be applicable to you or someone that you may know. And so, we're going to share a bunch of things. I'm going to share my story. We're going to talk about some struggles. Maybe you have them, maybe some of your family member have them, maybe some of your friends have them. We're going to talk about those struggles because, well, the reality is majority of us do, whether we want to admit them or not, because we all eat from the same trough, if you will. I mean, think about it. 80%, 70, 80%, you want to argue numbers, I don't really care. 70, 80% of all the food that you purchase, no matter where you buy it, other than straight from a farmer's market, which are really great this time of year, is bioengineered, processed, potentially highly processed, and it is built to be highly hyper palatable. In other words, you taste genuinely in your brain, your nose, your eyes, everything tells you, I want more, I want more. Thus, it is addictive. And it is built that way. I don't care what people say or don't say. That's pretty much what they don't say. It's addictive. It's highly, highly palpable. And it's processed. And it's processed for a reason. One, for profit. Because it's cheaper to do it that way, right? It's just cheaper to do it that way. And so one is profit, but do you think, and I don't really know, do you think maybe they really engineer it so it's the most nutritious or that it's the most profitable? And beings we're all eating from the same sources of food now, this bioengineered, highly processed. Do you think there may be a corollary or a relationship, a linear mathematical relationship to the increase, the dynamic escalatory increase in metabolic diseases? Now, metabolic diseases, chronic metabolic diseases, are exploding. And it's not just the adult population, is it? It's in our children, it's in our youth, it's in our school children, it's in our preschool children. As much, and if not more, than in the elderly population. And I'm one of the elderly, I'm 73. And so I would count in that group. But today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the causes. We're going to look at it from a way that maybe it's a little bit different than you might have ever thought about it. So we're going to talk about these struggles. We're going to talk about some solutions. We're going to have plenty of proof to back up what we talk about. There's going to be my personal proof, some social proof, scientific proof that there is a protocol that provides help. Like myself and 100,000 plus people around the world have already realized. And we just want to present the possibility of that for you as well. So if we look at this, would you agree that there is a metabolic problem in America? Look at the increase in amount of type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes or blood pressure. Did you know that 20% of the female population in America suffers from PCOS, which is the leading cause of infertility? And it has the same cause, same root effect, same rationale why it occurs as type 2 diabetes, as high blood pressure, as sarcopenia, as ED, alopecia. There's a lot of different things that already resolve back to the same. And you could argue statistically, and we'll show you some different things, different results, But do you think it's increasing or decreasing? And when you answer that question, do you think the metabolic problem is increasing or decreasing? Do you think the amount of pharmaceuticals, this pharmaceutical drugs intervention, is decreasing the metabolic occurrence? Is it reversing the metabolic occurrences, these chronic diseases? Or is it simply just masking and covering up the symptoms? Think about that for half a second. The medications you're taking, or maybe your family member, your friends, your parents, your children, are they really fixing the issue, like high blood pressure or inflammation? Or, in fact, is it just managing the situation, managing the symptoms? Think about that. And when you think about it from that standpoint, think about the profitability. How much money do you represent, or your family represent, or your friends represent, with the chronic disease, symptoms, issues that they're going to buy this medication until they can't take any medication anymore because they're gone? Was all of that money spent to fix or manage, in quotes? And the other thing, we start thinking about food, and we start thinking about the system that we're in, the modern food environment that we're in, and we'll talk about how it's changed over my lifetime. When we look at it from that standpoint, would you agree, and I think that most people don't even know anymore, that Americans spend between $6 and $10 a day on breakfast, sodas, smoothies, candy, chips, power drinks, going through the fast food? Do you think they spend $6 to $10? Yeah, I think so. I do. I mean, if you eat breakfast and you do one of those drive-thrus, how much is that? Then how many snacks do you have? How many smoothies do you have? How many candy bars do you have? How many power drinks do you have? How many granola bars do you have? And I think people don't even realize how much they spend, because anymore everybody uses plastic. No, most people aren't pulling out greens and change, are they? So they really don't know. They just get it. They just buy it. So we're going to look at that as the cost. And that cost fuels the metabolic issues, which then fuel all the other things. So here's a little slide, and it shows that 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Now, you may be one of the great individuals that's healthy, incredibly healthy, fit as yesterday and tomorrow. Your family may be yesterday and tomorrow fit. So you may be part of the 7% or less Americans that don't have to deal with this issue, or aren't dealing with this issue, that aren't doing shots, aren't doing pills, aren't doing things. But if we look at the cause of death, the leading causes of death in America continue to rise based on metabolic health issues. And if you think about it from this standpoint, why are we medicating a lifestyle disease? Why are we medicating a lifestyle disease? That's a question that Sarah Hallberg raised in 2018 in a TED Talk. I loved her. She was a great lady, great reference. And she really pointed out is, why are we medicating a lifestyle food diet disease? Profit. People want a magic pill. They think if I do this, it's good. And what I really have found an interesting thing too, and I'll talk about it in a minute, is that people will blindly take any prescription they're handed. You take this, take that, take this, take that. In fact, on TV, and I don't watch but 45 minutes a week, maybe, of TV, and that's going to get to the streaming channels, right? I see these ads and it's all, ask your doctor if it's right for you. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. Well, golly bum, you go in and he gets a what? 7 minutes with you? 11? That's what he's allowed? 7 to 11 minutes? That's what she's allowed to be with you? Her job is to what? Diagnose and prescribe. Diagnose and prescribe. And you say, hey, is it right for me? Well, sure, I don't know. Let's go see. Your symptoms seem like that might work. It's new, so let's give it a go. So now you get to what? You get to take something, you take it blindly. But when someone presents you with scientific facts, with scientific evidence, clinical proven trials, social proof, and personal history that things work, it's amazing how all of a sudden you want to do research. I want to do some research. I want to check that out. Well, but I encourage you to. I really, truly encourage you to. I want you to. And I want you at the same time to do the same equal research on the prescriptions, injections, pills, whatever, over the counter that you are buying, paying for, ingesting, injecting with the same fervor and sincerity of purpose that you would do this research. So 9 out of 10 diseases are lifestyle related and preventable. However, in our modern food environment, 8% what's in front of you, boxes and bags, present to you bioengineered food. And they're even labeling it now bioengineered. Have you done the research on what that means? I leave that to you and your favorite AI search tools. Bioengineered food. Highly processed foods. And we're going to talk about those. But this is diseases like heart disease, Alzheimer's, stroke, chronic obstructive, Crohn's, kidneys, hypertension, diabetes. These are all lifestyle generated. So why are we treating them pharmaceutically? So one of the things that we love to see and what we want you to do is not to have too much life at the end of your health. Same way as if you've heard the story of having too much month at the end of the money. Well, we don't want you to have too much life at the end of your health. You only get one body. You only get one carcass, one shell. If you ruin it, where else are you going to live? So how did we get here? How did we get to this modern food environment where we have all this bioengineered everything else going on? Now, I'm 73, and I can tell you that in my lifetime, I have had 2 lifetimes of the food environment. Now, when we were kids, when we were raised in South Dakota, we didn't have grass-fed beef. I know, isn't that crazy? We just had beef. We didn't have, what is it, pasture-raised, non-caged, all these different kinds of names of eggs that you've got, guys. We just had eggs. We had real milk. We had whole milk. I remember being on the farm doing this kind of thing. And people may laugh at that, but by golly, if you go back and look at pictures from my high school, I graduated in 1970. If you go back and look at our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, my classmates, what do you see in those pictures? Rather, what do you not see in those pictures? You look at the body shapes and styles. Do you think we were better at counting calories, that my grandparents were better at counting carbohydrates and going to the gym? Not even close. What has changed is our food. So I'm going to talk a little quickly about some of the history of how we got to where we are now, where we have bioengineered food. Does bioengineered food or highly processed food, does that sound natural? Does that sound God-designed? Or does that sound man-designed, man-created, based on profit? Is it designed for nutritional value? Or is it designed for profit? Is it designed to make you well? Or is it designed to make it addictive so you buy more and then consume more than you need to? You're not even hungry. So let's look at this. Back in the day, there was a drug called tobacco, and there still is. But the tobacco industry did a lot of research. They did a lot of psychological research because naturally, do you even think for a second that anybody really thinks inhaling smoke is healthy? I mean, really, if it wasn't sold as being healthy, if it wasn't so addictive, do you think anybody would really participate in that as a rule? As a rule, no. As a rule, no. But it was sold to you as well, wasn't it? Psychologically, it was all the cool people in the movies. All the cowboys, all the stars. Oh, darling, they all were glamorous. And so you wanted to be what? You wanted to emulate what you saw on the TV screen and in the movie theaters. And back then, really, it was the movie theaters, wasn't it? So tobacco had done some research, and they followed research being done at universities, and they found out that sugar is addictive through some labs, through some studies. And I could provide you with the study if you want to see that study. But did you know that up to 20% of the weight of cigarettes was sugar? Now, interestingly enough, that went on through the advertising. The advertising changed because the smoking age changed. And what happened was, on top of that, fiber was removed from our food. Now, fiber was removed from the food because it increased shelf life. Now, here's a recurring theme here. If you increase the shelf life, you will decrease your physical life. And I have two things to prove it to you. But they removed the fiber to increase the shelf life of the food. That was for the theater troops. Because if fiber, things wouldn't spoil so much. Then the next thing that happened in the industrialization of our food, this is after World War II. With the industrialization of our food, there was two guys, Procter and Gamble. Now, one was a candlestick maker and one was a soap maker. And they were, prior to coming to the States, they were using animal products to create those two lines of products they have. Interestingly enough, they met in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they married sisters. Isn't that cool? Now, Paul Harvey would say, you know the rest of the story. But what you don't know part of the rest of the story is that there was a process called hydrolyzation. There's a process called hydrolyzation that came about. And when hydrolyzation came about, what happened was that takes oil and you put hydrogen in it and it solidifies it. Now, in your pantry, you probably have some hydrolyzed products, and one of them would be peanut butter. If you take natural peanuts and you grind them all up and make them into peanut butter, it will separate into the oil and the solids. Hydrolyzation makes it one solid thing. Now, there was a product called cottonseed oil, which was a byproduct of cotton, processing cottonseed oil. We needed to do something with it. And they found out that it was an oil that would work as a fuel for lanterns. They also realized that it was a good lubricant. It kind of stuck to stuff and it was really slippery. So, okay, cool. Well, when it was hydrolyzed, made into a solid, what happened is that now they thought we've got a lubricant, but it's a solid, it has shelf life, and the name of it was based on crystallized cottonseed oil. That's where the name comes from, and it was Crisco. Now, Crisco is cottonseed oil. Now, they market it as it's digestible. Wow, what a marketing slogan, right, Jenny? It's digestible. Now, what happened with that oil to make it valid and to demonize what people were using at the time, think about this. At the time, they were using lard and animal fat, bacon grease, butter as baking for cooking. To demonize it, they went to the Heart Association. Now, the American Heart Association received $1.7 million, which is the equivalent to $30 to $40 million today. The money went in, and out came from the American Heart Association that Crisco was heart healthy. So it has a longer shelf life. We can demonize fats, because have you ever heard fat makes you fat? And there you go. Now, on that same line, the next oil I will talk about that they did this to was rapeseed oil. Now, you may not have heard of rapeseed oil, but rapeseed oil was another kind of plant oil, and it was used, again, mostly in the East, but it was used as a fuel. Then it was used as a lubricant because it was sticky. Now, but it was very, very toxic to the stomach. Now, to follow the profitability, rapeseed oil, after being processed and treated through all kinds of things, you now have it in your home as canola oil. That's its history. Did you know it's processed with hexane and other kinds of chemicals that are used in the petroleum industry? Did you know that? Crazy. Anyway, Jenny's on here, and I'd like to have Jenny come on and just tell us a little about her story. Jenny, what's going on in your world?
Well, it's Canada Day here today in Canada. It's like your July 4th. So we're out and about, but yeah, I saw that you were on, so I thought I would just hop on for a minute. And it's funny you talk about canola. We have canola fields all around us. And my son when we would drive by, he used to say, "Look, Mom, there's granola," because he couldn't say canola. But yeah, no, I've been doing the protocol for about 14 weeks now, and I feel amazing. You know, I had stage 4 rectal cancer 4 years ago, and was really struggling just to feel better after that. I'm clean now, but I really struggled.
I can't hear you now for some reason. I lost you a little bit, Jen. There we go. Not now. There.
Okay.
Off and on. There.
Yeah. So, you know, I started taking the protocol about 14 weeks ago, and I'm down about 28 pounds.
What?
My energy's back. Yeah, my energy's back.
Back the bus up. How long ago did you start?
About 14 weeks.
And in 14 weeks, you're down how many pounds?
28.
28, 14. Can I do the math?
Yeah, it's about 2 pounds a week. Yeah.
Glorious. What's your secret? Well, how do you,
Well,
are you
so
working out
I
like a
started.
crazy girl?
No, and I'm not. I haven't really changed how I'm eating. What I'm doing is I fast. I don't eat breakfast. I drink a chlorogenic tea, and I have a regular lunch. I try and prioritize my fiber and protein first, and then I have my carbs last. Put some healthy fats in there, and then I drink another tea, and I have a fiber with my dinner. And it's been amazing. It's so easy. It hasn't changed my lifestyle at all, other than I skip breakfast.
Okay. And
So
if you're skipping
I even
breakfast,
had pancakes today for Canada Day because it's Pancake Breakfast Day, right? So
oh, Canada.
with maple syrup.
With maple syrup.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it. I got to, I'll see if I can find this picture because I can identify with that, Jenny, with the
yeah.
maple syrup. I'll
I
tell
know
that
that's what we call you,
story.
maple
Yeah,
syrup.
maple syrup. And I'll tell you, we went to, I went to breakfast the other day, and you're going to love this picture.
That's awesome. Yeah,
But so you in 14 weeks you lost 2 pounds a week.
yeah.
What else have you noticed? What other kinds of things have you noticed?
My energy is way up. I wake up early and I have really good energy all day. I'm able to do things that I actually wasn't able to do before, like things in my yard. We have a hobby farm, and so I'm out in my farm with my animals, and I just feel like I have more stamina, more energy. Yeah, I don't have the food noise like I used to have. I used to think about food all the time. What are we going to eat? What are we going to make? What about snacks? What about this? And I just don't have that anymore.
So would you
It's all
say
really
on
good.
food? Would you say on food you're saving any money on in a month?
Oh, yes. My husband and I are both on the protocol, and my grocery bill has gone down for sure. Just because
Perfect.
we don't eat breakfast, and then we're not snacking all day long.
Okay. And how's your energy is up, right?
Yep.
Have you
Oh,
noticed
yeah.
anything about your skin or anything like that?
Yeah, people say I look young when I
You
tell
do.
them I have
You
a
look so
30
much younger now, Jen. I gotta tell
when
you.
I tell them I have a 32-year-old, they can't believe it.
I don't believe it.
Well, she's turning 32 in September.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, guys, they have an animal farm. It's really kind of cool.
Hmm.
And she does a lot of lives and videos. Catch her.
Yeah.
She does a lot with her animals and things. So catch her on this and other platforms. But
Yeah.
Jenny is great at and has a wonderful story. She's if you know her, guys, get a hold of her. She will help you. She will help coach you. She has a discount. She has the same discount link that I have, and she'll share that with you. And you know what? She'll help teach you and coach you, and she'll make sure that you could use your logo, your discount code, because you're going to get one too that you
Yeah.
could share with your friends and family and get credit on yours. It's awesome. Now I gotta ask.
It is.
So, are you if 28 pounds? Are your clothes fitting different? Do you have to go
Oh,
buy a
yeah.
wardrobe yet or anything? Or
Yeah. Yeah, I had some shirts from like a couple summers ago that I've been able to put on that are like not, I thought, oh, like even my Canada Day shirt, it's like a size large, and I used to wear a double extra large. So that was pretty cool.
cool. So Canada's
Yeah,
getting smaller for you.
it is. Yeah,
Now,
the
what
clothes
about
are
your husband's is on the protocol for how long now?
the same, almost the same as me. Yeah.
And what have you noticed for him?
Well, he's definitely shrinking. He said he's sleeping better. His sleep is getting much better, and his blood sugars are getting better. So that's a big deal.
Cool. So it is a type 2. Was he a type 2
Yeah,
diabetic? Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
And so he was on some shots or pills, and it's coming down,
Yeah,
or is he still on? He's still on those until he sees his doc, right?
yeah, he's working on that. But yeah, it's definitely getting better for him.
Cool. And what? And now in the business, you're in the business, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're a distributor.
Yeah.
And what are some of your customers? What are some people's stories that you've received from any of your
Oh,
people?
so yeah, I have a one of my customers was a type 2, and on the first day her numbers were the best she's had like in years. Like her blood sugar just really stabilized really quickly. And I have another person who has said that their like digestion is so much better. Like the fiber really, really does make a difference, and I've noticed that too. I mean, after having had rectal cancer, that fiber it really helps heal your gut and just help your bowels all around. So yeah, there's been some really good things.
Cool. And has you notice any more clarity or brain fog or anything like that, or vision? Any changes in that standpoint at all?
Yeah, so I definitely like as far as the clarity goes, I've been able to focus a lot better. I've been able to do a lot more during the day. Yeah, I've definitely noticed my brain fog has lifted, and I'm very alert. Like I wake up in the morning just feeling great.
Cool, good. And what have you noticed about from the business? What do you enjoy most about the aspect of sharing your story, which is really what people want? People want to be healthy like you. What have you
Yeah,
noticed?
I really noticed that there's a lot of sick people out there, and everybody needs this. The more I talk about it, the more people are like, yeah, okay, that's me. What does that mean for me? Like, how can I help myself? And yeah, I'm just talking to people. We all are struggling. We all have these different symptoms that we're talking about, and we're all looking for something that will make us feel better. I think everybody is.
Yeah, everybody. It's and now you have a festival. Your guys are jumping the 4th of July up there, whatever. But anyway, so
Yeah,
but you're going to be around. And one thing that it's hard to not see metabolic,
yeah,
chronic metabolic issues, isn't it? Because
yeah.
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Now you can't unsee it. And once you start learning about food and what's in our food, and like you were talking about those processed seed oils, it's everywhere, like everywhere. You can't avoid it. It's really hard to avoid it. And so everybody just needs to kind of know where they're at and what's going on as far as our food goes, and then just make better choices.
Right, to make better choices. And in light of that, I mean, around here it's summertime, it's soccer season. Kids are out playing soccer, softball, baseball, the swimming pool's crowded. And we're starting to see kids look like they're adult parents. And when you sit there and you look at the sidelines where all the parents are, you see boxes and bags and picnic boxes and backpacks, and there are all these drinks, none of them water hardly. They all have colors in them, right? There are all the kinds of aids and juices and that. There's boxes and bags of crackers and other kinds of snacks, granola bars, and all of that. And guess what? It's all processed. It's all highly palpable. It's addictive food. It is not
Yeah,
clean
yeah,
food, and it's rampant everywhere. I mean, I make a joke,
it
Jenny,
is.
that
Yeah.
John and I joke a lot. The Iceman and I, we get along, so we're all the time together. And one other day, I went to a convenience store. I picked up one of those little small bags of curls, cheese curls, right? The little itty bitty bag.
Hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you know how many servings are in that little itty bag? Three.
No.
Three.
Wow.
Have you ever
That's crazy.
seen someone go like, oh, that's all I can have. It's my serving and fold it
Yeah.
up? Yeah, not even close. So
Yeah.
one of the things that the drink that Jenny and I both take, the juice, the tea that shuts the food noise off, and it just works so well. It keeps us calm. It's willpower in a packet. It's willpower. Everybody wants to,
Yeah.
but hungry always wins. Hungry
Yes.
always
Yeah.
wins. And if we can keep
Yeah.
Mr. Hangry away, get to the mealtime smoothly and calmly, hey, it's so much easier. It's simpler.
Yeah.
And like Jenny said, it's
For
sustainable.
sure.
It's sustainable. It's willpower in a packet. Willpower in a packet.
Yeah, it is.
And now were you a coffee drinker to start, or what was your breakfast like?
No, I didn't actually eat a lot of breakfast. Last year I stopped drinking Diet Coke. I was a huge Diet Coke drinker, and I would drink it
Yeah.
all day long. And it did absolutely nothing for me, obviously. It wasn't a good choice. And so I got off that. But this tea's been great. Like you said, it gives you energy and it cuts out that noise. So yeah, no, it's been a lifesaver.
Yeah, it really is, guys. It really helps. And we all need some help. We
Yeah,
all
we do.
know we need help. And if it can be non-invasive, doesn't really change our lifestyle. I mean, I fast easily, well, it's noon Central Time. You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna eat sometime. Tonight's leftovers, so I'm
right.
not really worried about lunch. But the idea is that we eat when we want to, not because the clock says to.
Right.
That gives us control. That gives us confidence. Rather than being on meds, Jenny was on meds. They wanted me on meds, and they should have put me on meds, and I refused to put on meds. But because meds make you dependent. Now, I'm not saying that they're not good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't want to be dependent and labeled at whatever that is. I'd rather just be 73 with a 28-inch waist and on no meds, and jokingly called Mr. Maple Syrup. That's fine. But the rest, no, I don't want to be dependent. I don't want to be a profit center for the clinicians. I don't want to be a profit center for the pharmaceutical industry. I don't want to be a profit center for the health services industry or anything else. I want my own help. I want my own control. And that's what Jenny's doing. That's what her husband's doing. They
Yeah.
have control, and they're helping
And
others with the
my
same protocol.
I might lose you
Okay.
here,
Well,
George. I'm going into a bad area.
okay. Well, I'll catch up. I'll be here tomorrow. All right. You're almost there. I see you, Foggy. All right, Jenny, I'll talk to you tomorrow. So there you go. That's Jenny. And we're talking about, well, let's go look at this. Let's go look at this. So here is just some before and afters. And the great thing is, I've met a majority of these people just last week. We were at a wonderful event. There was 200, 250 of us at a function at our national headquarters in Las Vegas. But here's me, Mr. Belly So Big. That's what, when you see someone like this, and I'm not body shaming, but you see someone like this, that's me. Just understand underneath them is this. Under there is this little skeleton that's screaming, help me. Screaming, help me. Oh, by the way, it's summertime. That's what Lyme disease looks like. I've had Lyme. So this is me. This is why they call me maple syrup. I've gone from Mr. Belly so big to here. This suit was purchased for me by my mom in 1970 in Sioux Falls at Osborne's. That's my high school graduation suit, guys. Same shirt a year later. Here's me floating and bloating. Here's me with a 28-inch waist. Yeah. Well, this was a 30-inch waist. That's the 28, just to kind of show you. This was a month apart. Yeah, it's a month apart. So how did they get to call me maple syrup, and what happened? Well, I would say that I call myself, I've been fat, sick, and nearly dead. So in 2010, I was fat. And so I started juicing and different kinds of things. And I always call it the diet whack-a-mole. I was way too erratic up and down during my lifetime to be called a yo-yo dieter. I just call it diet whack-a-mole. You might be able to identify with that. And then what happened is that in 2019, I was going along. I was minding my own business. I was happy as a clam. And I couldn't see the highway signs. And so I did like everybody would do. I got a hold of Dr. Google, and I said, hey, what's going on, Dr. Google? I can't quite see so well. And Dr. Google kept telling me, this might be blood sugar. And I go like, no way it can be blood sugar, because in my family, my Filipino side of the family, my dad came from the Philippines in 47. There's no blood sugar issues on that side of the ocean. And on my mom's side, family, you go back to the original Jamestown colony, and there's no blood sugar issues up and down either side. So it can't be, because I'm thinking it's genetic, and there's no way. And I kept arguing with Dr. Google, and finally I got one of those things, where you prick your finger and you bleed into the thing to see what your thing is. And well, it came back and it said high, H-I, not hello high, high. It was so high that the monitor couldn't read it. That means it was at least 600 from a blood glucose level. Now, I had to look up what that meant, because no one's ever taught me that stuff, and I freaked out. I didn't tell anybody because I'm a guy, right? But I did have an inventory clearance in my kitchens, because I had two kitchens at the time. I have a gas kitchen and an electric kitchen. I love to cook. And if you know, back in 2010, I was juicing. So I was doing all kinds of crazy things. I'm making my own noodles using chemistry. I mean, I'm just having a great time. But, now 2019, and I got this issue, and I go, what the heck? So I called my doc, and I said I need an appointment, but I need it after April 15th because that's tax season. So on April 17th, I went and had my blood drawn. And when I went in on the 22nd, he goes, well, Villia, you didn't set a record, but you came close. And I said, what? And he says, well, your A1C. I says, what's that? And he starts explaining to me what my A1C is. I said, look, I already know what my A1C is because I studied it. I've been talking to Dr. Google, and I had already seen Dr. Sarah Hallberg's TED Talk. And so, yeah, I understand this. What is it? It says 14.4. I go, what? It's 14.4. What's that mean? He said, I'm going to put you on four diabetic medications and a heart stat. And I said, no, you're not. He looks at me like, what do you mean? No, I'm not. He says, no. I have found a protocol that says that they can reverse diabetes in 90 days. So I'm going to try that, and I'll come back in 90 days and let's see what we've done. So I went into that protocol. It's a great protocol, a great science-based protocol, but for me, unsustainable because I was weighing my food ounces and grams and measuring things out and counting. And no, that doesn't work for me because it was going into the summer. And I'm not going to walk around to barbecues and things with little containers and counting this and counting that. Now, did it lower my blood sugar? Yes. Did it lower my A1C? Yes. Was it sustainable? No. So, after 18 months, I'm just back to my normal free range stuff. So, I hadn't learned anything, right? I learned some things, but obviously not well enough. So, I've been fat, sick, and in 2024, October 24 of 24, I was nearly dead. I didn't know it. I did not know it because I hadn't been told. But I went and got my blood checked. I went to the doc and I just have some labs done. Now, I waited until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I made sure that my blood sugar would be down. If you know how to cheat those, the longer you fast, the lower your blood sugar will be. So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I had been fasting for almost 20 hours. So I figured that should do it. So I went in, they did all the blood work, lipids and everything else like that, and I took off. Well, unbeknownst to me, that afternoon, the laboratory, not just the clinic, but the laboratory was panicking, trying to get a hold of me. Calling me and calling me and calling me. I don't know the last time the lab called you about your results, panicking, but they were calling me. So I called them. The next morning I got on the phone and I said, hey, what's up? I see you guys have been calling me. Well, how are you feeling? Are you dizzy? Are you nauseous? Have you been fainting? Are you sweating? Do you have any aches or pains, high palpitations? Is your heart rate high? Is your blood? No, I'm fine. What's up? It says, well, we've been trying to get a hold of you since yesterday. I go, yeah, I see that. And what's up? Well, why didn't you call? Why didn't you return our calls? It's because I was golfing. No guy's gonna return a call when he's golfing. Then we don't do that. That's just not etiquette. Well, they were in a panic and said, you have to come in right now. And it's a 20-minute drive, so okay, fine. So I got to the clinic, and guys, this is the kind of clinic, where there's nice music and plants and all this good stuff. They panicked and rushed me in like you thought I was at ER. And the attendings and a bunch of other staff came in there and, how are you feeling? They ran me through all the things. And I go, I'm fine. Why didn't you call back? It's because I was golfing. So what's the panic here? Well, you're fasting. You were fasting? I go, yes, I was fasting. Well, your fasting blood glucose was 834. Guys, that's critically extreme clinic intervention, hospitalizations needed now. I should have been dead. I should have been at least in a coma because on top of 834 fasting blood glucose, my A1C was 18.1. That's extreme clinical crisis level. They should have been putting me on insulin and all kinds of other drugs to try to bring down my blood glucose in a crashing mode, to do all those kinds of things. Now, your A1C, if you don't know, is a 90-day average measurement. Okay? It's a 90-day lookie. Well, it's also an exponential number. It's not linear. It just doesn't go up. It's linear. It's multiplicative. So at 18.1, and with a fasting blood glucose of 834, they wanted to hospitalize it. They wanted to medicate me and all kinds of things, statins and everything. What's thinking? And I said, no. And you say, well, who's the idiot? Well, maybe I am, but I already have been through that, right? I remember I knew I was in 2019. This is 2024. I should have learned my lesson about eating and that, right? But I didn't. Then now I was in this situation, which I never want any of you to get to, because really most of you would, anyways, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But using my wonderful tools of Dr. Google, right, going on the internet, I had found, by way of a platform, a guy that is now my friend, my mentor. And I was talking about the protocol that I'm on, that Jenny was just on with us talking about. And at 107 days of this natural protocol, my fasting blood glucose, I was 107 days when this measurement was done, was 90, and my A1C was 7.2. Now, I will tell you, and I'll be the first to admit, that an A1C of 7.2 is still considered diabetic. However, this is a 90-day look. So to go from an exponential 18.1 to 7.2 in 107 days is a meteoric fall. It will be less than that come September and October and August. I now have a 28-inch waist. I was suffering from sarcopenia. I was peeing every 2 hours. I had skin tags. I had blurry vision. I had brain fog. I had body fat, joint pain. All that's gone. And I'm now at 73, doing what 73-year-olds are not supposed to be able to do. I'm gaining lean muscle mass. At the same time, I'm losing body fat percentages. I don't have the skin tags. I don't get up in the middle of the night to go pee. I don't have to pee every 2 hours. Guys, I was a mess. I'm on no blood pressure medications. I have gone through this cycle several times. I don't want you to go through this cycle once. That's what my passion is, to try to help teach you. This is my friend John. He's the Iceman. John suffered from diabetes for 25 years. He did literally everything he was ever told to do, followed it. He was an athlete. He became a professional wrestler. He got into law enforcement. He's jacked, muscle, and big, but never could reduce the type 2. In fact, following their advice of those physicians and the experts, he developed foot ulcers, diabetic foot ulcers, such he was going to lose his foot. One of them cost $150,000. Guys, now he found the protocol. And he was mentally, one of the things about this whole issue, guys, with this food I was telling you about, your gut controls your mind. It's a second mind, if you will. And he was so sick and didn't understand it that mentally he would tell you he was not a nice guy. Mood swings, temper, those types of things. When you get the gut taken care of, when you get your blood sugar taken care of, when you get the metabolic balance put together, your hair cleans up. Your attitude cleans up. Your moods are better. He's no longer has fatty liver, joint pain. His sleep apnea is gone. And he's down. Good gravy. He was down. He was almost 400 pounds. He's down to 240 pounds now. John is a great guy. I love him too. This is Andrea. Andrea is down 43 pounds, I think. Look at her. Look at that. This is just showing 25 pounds in 90 days. She's down more than that. She looks like a kid. She is a kid. She's a grandma, but she's a kid. Here's Kenny. Now, look at this. This is 35 days apart. Here's his wife, suffering from PCOS. Now, the reason she developed this belly over there is because our friend Kenny spent 2 months in the hospital, nearly died twice. Stress, cortisol got her there. In 2 months, she's over here. Not changing her lifestyle, not counting calories, not counting carbs, just following the protocol. Look at these two. Postmenopausal, you're menopausal, so you're not supposed to be able to lose weight. I differ. Does he look better too? Belly fat gone? Huh? And look at Jimmy. Jimmy, 2 years he was on insulin. Insulin resistant, struggling with type 2, non-fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. These start to sound familiar for you? Acid reflux, depression, chronic fatigue, inflammation, skin tags, ED. And he doesn't have a thyroid. Jimmy doesn't have a thyroid. He's really a funny guy. I met him just a week ago. But and he's down 88 pounds. I think he's down more than that. But he got his life back. Would you like your life back? Would you like to claim your health back like Jimmy or Lauren? Now, she found the protocol 10 months ago, and she's a cancer survivor. She had high blood pressure, fibromyalgia, acid reflux, gluten intolerance. Any of these sound familiar to anybody here? Menopausal weight gain, diabetes, uncontrolled hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid levels all out of whack. She was sick of being sick. She found the protocol and feels better than she has in 15 years. Off of all of her medications, no high blood pressure medication, no diabetes medication, cholesterol. Look at this. Look at that. You can't make this stuff up. Sheridan, she does lives all the time. She's a delight. And one of her things was she suffered from depression and anxiety. She had ovarian cysts, IBS gone. Doesn't she look like a joy? Because she really is. Her skin is just flowing. Her hair's growing back. Alopecia. Yes? Happier? Fitter? You think of him before, he's pretty fit. Look at him now. 90 days. Remarkable. And that's just a start, isn't it? No shots. No change in diet. Same dress. This doctor did a great talk on menopause with us just the other day. Deanna and Tim, they're both now on it. She's a cancer survivor and a grandmother, postmental. 30 days. Lupus. Lupus is incurable? Really? Really? She's off the meds for lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and diabetes. Lost 40 pounds. Can't make this up. Sue. Love Sue. We call her Builder Sue. This is the same lady, guys. Her kids were looking to put her in a nursing home. Look at the joy in life in that diamond. She's got her life back. No longer diabetic, off metformin, off cholesterol meds. Marie, gosh, love Marie. Look at that. She started because her husband was melting away. She started. And this baby is what we call our PCOS miracle. Because the person that had this baby had been suffering PCOS, infertility, for like 15 years, was on the protocol for 4 months. And now you see, this is our PCOS baby. Isn't that cool? We love it. This guy lets us use his photo because he wants to let you know that no one told him to stop drinking soda and juice, even after he lost his first leg. Now he'll be going into dialysis. He has a 4-year-old son. He's starting the protocol. We're hoping to help him with the protocol. Dr. Jim, 25 pounds in 6 weeks. Here's Vicky, and I'll stop after Vicky. Vicky was a skeptical type 1 diabetic. Skeptical. I mean, so skeptical that when she called up her cousin, who is a doc, he had to say, hey, you called me. I didn't call you. What do you want? And she, oh, that's right. Anyway, so she started on the protocol. Well, your mom said I needed to try this. So Vicky is struggling with type 1 diabetes. That, if you don't know, that means insulin. She has an insulin pump. In 3 months, now being diabetic, type 1. Now, insulin is a growth hormone. In 3 months, she lost 35 pounds, reduced her insulin, the amount of insulin, by 79%. Her numbers, not mine. No longer has to take insulin before she eats. Joint pain is gone. She's got more energy. Feels better than she did. She's gone and done a fast. She's taking her life back. Just like all of these other people. Here's Jenny. Just remember she was just on. Look at that. See that change? So just want to jump real quick. I'm giving you social proof. Let's just go back here. What did I say the agenda was? I said I would go through a survey, which we talked about. Everybody agrees that the issue is growing. I've talked about some of the struggles, my personal struggles. We've talked about some of the history of food and some of the solutions. I've gone through personal proof, social proof. Now I'm going to go to scientific proof. Okay, let's go to some of the. What am I talking about? What's George talking about, and what is it? Okay. So here's our issues, guys. The easiest solution to get rid of what's called insulin resistance. Then I haven't used the word insulin resistance yet, because if I say the word insulin resistance, some of you just immediately go deaf because you go, I'm not diabetic, and I'm going to say yet. And or you just shut the word off. So if you have a pen and paper, I'm going to tell you how you can figure out if you're insulin resistant or not in a minute, okay? But these are all signs of insulin resistance. Belly fat, low energy, fatigue, migraines, headaches, cravings, difficulty losing weight, always hungry. Those are just some. So let's go into the science of what you could do. So how can I say go into the science? Well, our protocol, what the thing that we do, what we follow, has been tested, studied at Cleveland Clinic, University of Sydney, University of Connecticut, UNLV, Columbia, Canada, BYU. So you can look up our protocol in what's called the Physician's Desk Reference. Now it's the Prescriber's Digital Reference.net. If you go there, I challenge you, I double dog dare you to look up whatever prescription you are currently taking, or all of them, or what your friends are taking, what your loved ones are taking, what your families are taking. Look them up in the PDR.net. It's a free research tool. It's what doctors and clinicians use to prescribe medications because it has them all in there. It has them all in there. It has how they're made, has what their interactions are, and it has if there's any warnings. And those warnings are called box warnings. I call them black box warnings because you read it, it could be your black box. So what did the Cleveland Clinic say about the protocol that I'm using, that those people that I've showed you use? What did the Cleveland Clinic say? Well, they said that such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce the cardiovascular risk. Cardiovascular risk, this is not me, this is the Cleveland Clinic, the number one heart hospital in the world, arguably, at least in America, the number one heart clinic in America, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis and potentially decrease the need or lower the dose of lipid-lowering prescription drugs. And what are those? Those are statins. Those are statins. That's pretty remarkable. That's pretty remarkable. It's been in the PDR. It is in the PDR that this medication, the protocol that we use, which is not medication, could do that. And how long has this information been? This study was done in 1991. I wonder why you hadn't heard of it. How long you been on a statin or blood pressure medication, heart medication? What about this? What about in the protocol? How does it work comparing it to, say, metformin, which is one of the widely prescribed medications for blood sugar, for all those people taking those shots, in theory for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, but they're really trying to do it for weight loss. How efficient are those? What's their efficacy? Well, let's just see what happens, because we did this test, was done out of BYU. And so let's see how extreme we can make it. Let's just see. So in this clinical study, they fed people a typical type of American diet. What they did was they fed them 2 Eggo waffles, 2 tablespoons of syrup, probably maple, 10 ounces of orange juice. And that spiked the heck out of them, right? I mean, come on, what do they give a diabetic if they need to raise their blood sugar? If you have hypoglycemia, what are everybody looks to get you a juice, right? An apple juice, orange juice, right? That's what they grab for you. Well, guess what? We did that in the lab to see what would happen. Then we looked at what could we do? How will people respond clinically to our protocol? And look what it did. It lowered the blood glucose by 43%. Look what metformin can do on its best day. Maybe 30, 25 to 30. Here is a plant food that lowers that clinically by 43%. You want to do research? Here it is. And here's the chlorogenic acid tea that Jenny was talking about and that I take as well, and hundreds of thousands of us around the world do now. it's a highly, highly, highly extracted yerba mate tea. You can buy yerba mate tea. Have a nice day. You can buy cans of yerba mate in stores, and they have lots of sugar and all kinds of other stuff. This is a patented yerba mate extract. It's a patented process that we have. And what the Cliff Note version of this whole story is this will raise your GLP-1 naturally by 60%. Naturally by 60%. Have you heard, those of you that are taking the shots, there's also GLP-1 resistance? You've heard of insulin resistance? There's GLP-1 resistance that's occurring. Did you know that that the synthetic GLP-1s or GLP-1s that you're trying to do, that there's two areas? There's the upper and lower area of the intestinal gut. Did you know that the resistance is being created? Do you just look up the blood? Just look up whatever you're taking. Just do or don't. You know, live in the closet. That's fine. But also know that on this natural, raising your GLP-1 naturally by 60% is higher than your chemicalized that you're spending 50, 60, 80, 70, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever the price you're paying for them, depending on the kind of insurance you have and the dose you're taking. You could do this naturally for less money with zero side effects. But maybe you like having that. That's fine. I can only help show it to you. I can just tell you it works. But this is the free portion of the program. If you want to do this free, then do what Jenny just said and what I say, F off. Go ahead and fast. Then your order of food is fiber, fat, protein. Now, I know protein starts with the P, but I'm Filipino. You don't say Filipino. You say Filipino. So protein is an F word. And forget these guys. They aren't necessary. All they do is give your blood sugar and your insulin a demand that they don't need. This idea can be made from all of this here. So here we go. I'm going to be done in 2 minutes. Our protocol has been around for decades. It was originally out of Rexall drug as Bio's Life. In 1991, the Cleveland Clinic did the study. Later on, the University of Sydney did the blood glucose study. BYU just did the GLP-1 study. More and more studies. We've got over 24 clinical studies and trials. We have the evidence to back everything I've said. We have the social proof. We have the personal proof. We have 5 patents to prove its validity. It's safe, natural, guaranteed. Look it up in the PDR. Look it up in Health Canada. Look it up in India, the FCCS. It's guaranteed to work. If you follow the protocol for 90 days, we know it works. It's provable by your own blood work. We encourage you to have your blood work when you start, have your A1C done. And in 90 days, you follow the protocol correctly, just the 2 teas, skip one meal, the breakfast, you have results, clinically provable results. Regardless, you can have your money back if you want it. It's cost neutral. We already talked about that. We're in 63 countries. So anywhere in the world that you see this, let me know, and I'll make sure, see if we can't get it into your country. They're in 63 countries now. So there's pharmaceuticals There's natural remedies. Good luck trying to figure out the right portions. And then we have what we call and what we are is a nutraceutical. Two products to do all of this without the drugs. Choice is yours, obviously. Here's our history. 1990, Bios Life came out of Rexall. 1991, clinical study. Ownership changed. Stuart Hughes took the ownership in 06. The Feel Great system came about in the combination of the Unamate and the fiber in 21, and that's where we are today. The Bios Life is 7 blended fiber. Incredible technology, patented, works. So is there a need? Yeah. Is there a patent? Yes. So here's the protocol. I got 1 more minute. Here's the protocol. We're going to generally continue the fast that we started last night. We're going to continue the fast, and we're going to have our first tea. That's going to keep us satisfied, keep the hunger away, keep the hangry away, keep us calm, keep us alert till we decide to have a lunch. We have a lunch, then we eat what? What'd you learn? Because you just got done fasting, then you order food, right? Now what's next? Fiber, fat, protein. And then you have your next tea that takes you through. You don't need any power snacks, you don't need energy drinks. This takes you right on up to time to have dinner. You have your dinner. Remember, they took the fiber out. We put the fiber back in. You have your fiber before your meal. You eat your meal, and you're done for the day. That's it. Could it be any simpler, anybody? Any simpler? Bueller? Yeah. 2 teas and a fiber drink. That's it. No counting, no weighing, no anything. Not having to do any of those counting or any of those other types of sillinesses. So really, what makes this unique is that it targets the root cause. This targets insulin resistance directly. Reverse the cause, not the symptoms. And you get to be empowered. Guys, if you're on meds, what they're saying is that you are broken. You're broken, and you get to take these forever. Forever. Who do you know has ever gotten off of their statins? Who do you know that's ever gotten off their blood pressure medicines? Who do you know that's ever gotten off their insulin? Nobody. They don't. And you're labeled whatever those are. With the Feel Great system, you get to restore your own functionality. You get to have control, not dependency. You're no longer dependent. You have confidence. You can do things because your doctor's going to say, whatever you are doing, you just keep on doing it. So it makes lifestyle changes easy. Remember, I said, hungry always wins. You lose. You lose. You always lose. How many times have you played diet whack-a-mole and you're going long, and then boom, right? Just that one little nibble, and it's over. And then you have guilt and all the other things. The Feel Great system works because it's designed to work with your biology. It improves your sensitivity. It helps control the appetite. We just need a little bit of help. If we have just a little bit of help, that gets us up and over the edge, doesn't it? So why it works is because it's natural. Now, you can do the synthetics. You can take the pills. You can do the shots. You can keep doing what you want to do. Go down blindly. But again, I double dog dare you to look up any medication you're taking in the PDR.net. I dare you. I double dog dare you to do it and compare it to something that works at minimum equally and generally better. That's 100% natural. That can reverse the symptoms that you're on, that you're suffering from. It's effective. The root cause is the focus. We're not looking at trying to maintain your symptoms so you keep them going. I mean, do you want to have high blood pressure? Well, I got it controlled. Oh, do you? If you go off the meds, is it controlled? No. So you have to have the meds. How about if you did this and there was nothing left to be needed? The protocol works like that. So it supports real change. It's adaptable. My story isn't the same as Jenny's or A. Marie or Jim's or Kenny's or Andrea or Jimmy or Mike's. We all have different stories because insulin resistance and chronic metabolic diseases manifest differently in each of our own biospheres. But the root cause and other hormonal changes allow it to be adaptable to all of those maladies. It's simple and it's sustainable. So I thank you for visiting. I thank you for coming on. I'm going to be on tonight again at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'll have some more guests on. I hope to see you then. If you'd like to know more, just send me a message, DM me. I'll get back to you. Have a great day. Thanks for coming. Bye now.